The Biafran question is about a demand for citizenship. Everybody who is institutionally disadvantaged in Nigeria is a Biafran. Welcome to the Sankofa Pan-African series. Before we meet the person who said these thought-provoking words, please subscribe and turn on your notification buttons if you haven't done so. You can also support us by signing up as a member of this channel and pledging a monthly token amount to this channel through Patreon. No amount that you pledge is too small. Your pledge will ensure that we are able to continue bringing you this channel. Thank you. Now, our guest today, Dele Farotimi, is a lawyer, author, and member of Citizens Rally Against Oppression, Ramimba. He served as president of the Students' Union at Lagos State University, LASU, in 1994-1995, and was called to the Nigerian bar in 1999. In 2002, he established Dele Farotimi and Co., now DF Legal, which is a full-service law firm. Dele Farotimi remained in active legal practice until his early retirement in 2018 at the age of 50. He is an activist, a public commentator, and author of 2 thought-provoking and insightful books, Do Not Die in Their War and Imperatives of the Nigerian Revolution. Dele Farotimi is passionate about the birth of a new and better Nigeria. Please join me in welcoming Dele Farotimi to the Sankofa Pan-African series. Welcome to the Sankofa Pan-African series. I'm really excited to be having this opportunity to pick your brains a little. I've been
Thank you very much for having me.
Of your publications, and I believe that your analysis is one that more and more of us in Nigeria need to listen to and embrace. I'm going to start from the deep end. What is the problem with Nigeria? It's a $1 million question.
No, it's actually the simplest question to answer. Nigeria is the problem of Nigerians. The Nigerian state, everything that approximates the name state in Nigeria is the problem of the Nigerians. The Nigerian state is like a virus. It limits the capacity of the Nigerian to achieve his potential. In almost every material respect that a citizen, now note that word, citizen, should have an engagement with the state, the Nigerian is disadvantaged. Because the Nigerian state is not structured to work for the Nigerian. It is structured to limit the Nigerian and make him fit into whatever construct the occupier of state power deems his office. So when the occupier of the office is liberal, the Nigerian gets liberalized rights. When he is a draconian tyrant, like our current president, Nigerians have their rights constrained. And as the ruling class has become more syncretic ideologically and become more or less a single class, what you find is that the Nigerian has become an endangered person because in every way he is under attack by the state. His engagement with the police elicits pain, if not death. His engagement with the army elicits pain, if not death. Agencies of the state and agents of the state do not consider themselves responsible to anybody for the life of the Nigerian. So you have a situation where when you ask the question, what is the problem with Nigeria? It is Nigeria itself that is the problem. The way Nigeria is structured is a problem.
Okay. So when you say Nigeria is the problem and the way Nigeria is structured is the problem, I'm assuming you're talking about the Nigerian constitution.
Nigeria does. See, we have a major problem in Nigeria. We have to presume regularity to a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And it is amazing that one of the things to which we have to presume regularity and normalcy is the paper we call our constitution. Mm. When we can say with 100% conviction that our constitution is a fraud. No, but that is the reality. In 1999, when Abdul Salam would leave, he contrived to hand over a constitution, which is in reality a decree. I believe that would be Decree 24 or something along those lines of 1999. Is a decree. What is a constitution? A constitution is comprised essentially of the set of rules, the guidelines by which a people or a group of individuals, maybe the Traders Association, the way people have agreed to be ruled, that is a constitution. Where did the Nigerian people agree the 1999 constitution? Where? Where did we agree to be bound by that constitution? That constitution is a fraud. So to even call it a constitution is a misnomer, is a fraud. So ab initio, the idea of Nigeria as conceived today is based fundamentally on a fraud. And that is why you are seeing all these disruptions up and down the place, all the problems, the internal contradictions, they are all coming from the same fraudulent mother lode, is the 1999 Constitution. I'm not suggesting that if it disappears today, to be replaced by one that I might even have drafted, Nigeria's problems would disappear. It's not likely to happen like that. Nigeria has been ruled by impunity for the better part of the last 5 decades. That you have now brought a new constitution reflective of the will of the Nigerian people can only serve to begin the journey to sanity. It is not a switch that you flick off and on, and then we'll suddenly find ourselves in a better place. No, but to even start that journey, that fraud has to be addressed. It is the basis of all of our problems.
Okay, so my take from this is that, okay, so the so-called constitution is is based on fraud because Nigerians were not consulted, whereas the constitution opens by saying, we the people.
We the people, yeah.
That's that. But okay, are there specific aspects of the constitution that have disenfranchised Nigerians that you want to point us to?
Yeah, let me say this. I am a Yoruba man, and my people's gospels, the Yoruba gospels, are proverb. He has a peculiar saying. He says that Tiwaju oba se lo, eyan se pada si. And then he went further in another one.
For the benefit of our viewers who don't speak.
I will interpret. What it means is that if you don't know where you're going, you should certainly know where you're coming from. Yeah. When you have the benefit of your history and you find yourself lost, more often than not, you can only find your route back to wherever you're coming from in order to navigate the future properly. Because that you are in the wrong place is suggestive of the fact that you have taken wrong steps. So if you are going to be able to find yourself back on the path of rectitude, you must always travel back in time to find the point where the rain began to beat you. Nigeria started its journey to infamy in 1966. The question is, what if we were in such El Dorado? Because I have had this question asked of me. If we were in El Dorado, why the problem of 1966? Yes. And then people say, what is the problem with the one that we have now that it makes it so important that it be jettisoned? More or less the question you've just asked of me. So I'll tie the nexus. Let me explain this. The Nigerian state did not need to be in 1960, but it became as a function of negotiations. There were clear understandings of the contradictions that are tearing Nigeria apart today. Those who created Nigeria, at least who accepted the Nigerian nation in 1960, they were not blind to these contradictions. So they negotiated a document, the 1960 Constitution. That document was the product of several years of negotiation from Ibadan in 1952 all the way to Lancaster House in 1960. Several negotiations were held. Plebiscites were held to determine the shape and size of that Nigerian federation. And it was not by accident that insistence was on a federation, not a unitary system. Let me not even deal with the lie that we are a unitary state. We are not a unitary state. We are neither a federation nor a unitary state today. As at 1960, nobody, no part of Nigeria would ever have agreed to the constitution that we are running today, which has now centralized power. What you have today is not a unitary system. Britain is a unitary system. Yet, power is devolved to the Welsh Assembly. Power is devolved to the Scottish Assembly. Power is devolved to local governments. Our current constitution that brands itself the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the federal government is the only party that is capable of creating local governments. It is an incongruity that you will not find anywhere else in the world where federalism is practiced, where the federal government is the creator of federating units. That is in itself an ingenious fraud because revenue allocation has been tied to local governments. So you have a situation where the total number of local governments in the southeastern part of Nigeria are not enough to meet the number that have come out of the whole Kano state.
And this is where the oil resources come from.
So when you begin to look at these obvious inequities, you begin to understand why the agitation continues to be loud in demanding that a document that could not have formed the foundation of the Nigerian state at the beginning in 1960 should not today become untouchable, not to be discussed by those to whom it is meant to apply, and we claim we are in a democracy.
That brings me to my next question. So, for the nationalists, the fathers, the people who agitated for Nigeria's independence, like you rightly said, knew of the problems that we're currently facing with ethnicity and all of that, and went through a lot of trouble to negotiate, and were empowered by plebiscites to come up with a constitution, which has now been jettisoned. And this 1999 constitution is being forced on us. And there are all kinds of hues and cries, people who are saying, okay, we need to restructure and all of that. Why is restructuring not going to be a solution to the problems we now find ourselves facing?
I think sometimes we get lost in terminologies. And the Nigerian state has done a fantastic job of obfuscating the issues. because the more ignorance it is able to spread, the easier it becomes for it to be sustained and for the rulers who benefit from the governance systems to remain in power. But when clarity attends our discussions, it makes it easier to show the lies that the state tells. What is restructuring? I think we must understand that when people talk restructuring, what they are actually demanding is equity. They are simply asking for equity. Whether that equity is delivered by even a constitutional review, this bunch of people that I don't consider credible, that I believe are beneficiaries of a fraud, they might surprise us. They might decide that, you know what, we've stolen enough. There is a huge nation to be built. No, please. Let me put it this way. There is legitimacy and then there is legality. The National Assembly lacks legitimacy because it's founded on a fraud. But it has legality. The legal order in Nigeria today is predicated on that fraud. The people who are beneficiaries, let's just play out a worst case scenario, or let's say best case scenario. They might have a Damascus Road conversion and decide that, you know what, Nigeria deserves to fulfill its potentials. So let us restructure it in a manner that allows it to fulfill those potentials. We'll go down in history as becoming the fathers and mothers of modern Nigeria. Let's rise above our petty base instincts and petty interests. Let's understand the fact that we will live only for a season and then we'll be no more. Let's make the kind of history that will make our entire race remember us. They can then decide at that point that, okay, we will restructure Nigeria along the yearnings and aspirations of the Nigerian people. Let me tell you something, madam. Ndi Igbo does not want to go anywhere. Put Ndi Igbo. I've said these things every time. Nigeria has an Igbo problem. Every disadvantaged Nigerian is a Biafran. Address the Igbo problem in Nigeria today. Nobody will want to leave Nigeria. All they are asking for, that everybody is demanding, is equal citizenship. What used to be the exclusive preserve of one tribe, the suffering of Nigeria, were designed and tailored for Igbo. They were the recipient of the 8. The Yorubas are not in any way, shape, or form guiltless in this. Let Nigerians tell themselves the truth. We all helped to institutionalize the 8, the discrimination from which we are all benefiting today.
Yes.
The reality is that the Igbo were the guinea pigs. But there is enough to go around today. Where were the Benue people when Igbo was suffering in the 70s and 80s? They were northerners. You never heard anybody call himself a TV or a Jukun. Everybody were northerners. So now you have a situation where the suffering is now sufficient to go round. And because it is sufficient to go round, people are demanding restructuring. People who never used to speak for restructuring. You are hearing a Benue man demanding restructuring. All of a sudden, we know that there are northern minorities. In the immediate aftermath of the first coup, of the second coup, the old divisions in the north ended. They fused. One north became the promo. And that one north became the basis upon which the inequities of Nigeria were expanded and built with southern complicity. So today, everybody is suffering from that and everybody is now demanding restructuring. Restructuring is really about equity. You cannot in any way, shape, or form restructure a country without touching its constitution. So when people are saying we want a new constitution, or somebody is saying we want restructuring, they're essentially saying the same thing.
Okay. So the mantra should be, we want a
equity.
New constitution. We want equity.
Yes,
not
We want equity. We want citizenship.
Because restructuring within the framework we currently have cannot work. It cannot secure us the equity.
No, it does nothing.
Okay. So
the current framework can only restructure by tweaking the constitution. You cannot restructure without substantial constitutional amendment or the complete. In fact, there is no way you cannot, if they are going to restructure, restructuring suggests that you are going to listen to the clamor that we go back to a true federation, to a federation. We are not a federation right now. We have become a feudalized democracy. It's a feudal state. The person at the top, the Nigerian state always has to be above the law, the way we are structured. If it is not above the law, it will collapse. So right now, the state must flout court orders. The president of Nigeria must ignore court rulings because he cannot be subjected to the law. Nigeria is governed today by impunity. So because it's not governed by the will of the people. When a state is ungoverned by the will of the people, it then means that it is governed by the will of man. That can only happen in a kingdom, in a feudal state. And that is what you have in Nigeria. Nigeria has been like that since 1966.
This discussion will be continued in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the Sankofa Pan-African series channel. Like our videos and please share them with your contacts.